How did you survive being kidnapped? My parents divorced when I was 7, and the court gave them joint custody despite my dad's concerns about mom's mental state. She'd always been intense, the kind of mother who'd check my breathing 17 times a night or follow the school bus in her car to make sure it didn't crash. I always knew there was something off with her, but I still visited her on weekends when dad was away. However, when she installed 3 deadbolts on my bedroom door saying it was for safety that night, I tried to just ignore it. But when I woke up the next morning, I couldn't move my arm. I was supposed to be going back to dad's house, but I felt something weird on my left wrist, and when I looked up to see what it was a handcuff. One was locked around my wrist, the other attached to the bed frame. For a moment, I thought I was still dreaming, but the pain was too real, too sharp. Then I noticed mom was sitting in the chair beside my bed, fully dressed, watching me with that same peaceful expression she got when she organized her pill bottles by color. "Good morning, sweetheart. I know this looks scary, but it's just temporary. Until you understand that you belong here with me, not with him." My throat was so dry I could barely speak. "Mom, what are you doing? Take this off." She stood me up and tried to convince me my dad was planning to kill me secretly, and she was keeping me safe, but I knew it wasn't true. She brought me food, escorted me to the bathroom, and even though I cried my eyes out, she wouldn't stop. But that's when we heard dad's knock. He was here to pick me up for his week, and we heard him say, "Hello?" Through the door, mom's whole demeanor shifted. She pulled duct tape from her pocket and pressed it over my mouth. "Shh, baby. This is the hard part, but then we'll be free. Just stay quiet for mommy." I thrashed against the handcuffs, tried to scream through the tape. Through the door, I heard her voice transform completely. Concerned, apologetic, telling dad I'd written her a letter saying I didn't want to see him anymore, that I was too embarrassed to tell him myself. But the worst part was he actually believed her. I heard dad's confused questions. "Can I just see her? Just to make sure she's okay?" Mom's voice stayed steady, sympathetic. "I think that would make it worse. I'm so sorry. I know this must be hard. I think she just wants to stay with me for now." That night, I knew I had to do something. I wasn't living the rest of my life like this. I knew all I had to do was slip out of the handcuff while mom was sleeping, and that's when I got the idea. Since I couldn't stop crying anyways, I started using my tears to lubricate my hand, and after long enough, I was able to slip it through the handcuff. I was out, but mom could come back at any moment. I opened my door and saw the bathroom window wasn't locked, so I squeezed through and ran barefoot through the neighborhood to the Chevron 6 blocks away. My wrist was in so much pain, and I was in pajamas in 40-degree weather. I ran inside, begging them to call the police and let me use a phone. I called dad, sobbing so hard he could barely understand me. He said 15 minutes, stay inside, stay visible. But when I saw a car pull up, it wasn't dad. Mom jumped out in her nightgown, her face a mask of maternal concern. "Oh, sweetheart, you're confused. Did you hurt yourself?" She grabbed my arm and started dragging me toward her car. "Come on, baby, you're sick. Let's get you home." I was screaming, trying to pull away, but she was stronger than she looked. The gas station attendant came outside yelling at her to let go, but she kept pulling. That's when dad's truck roared into the parking lot. He jumped out and saw mom trying to force me into her car. "Get your hands off her!" he yelled, shoving mom away from me hard enough that she stumbled backward. Mom immediately started screaming, "Help! He's attacking me! He's kidnapping my daughter!" Then finally the cops came pulled in with lights flashing. The officers saw dad standing between mom and me, mom on the ground crying, and unfortunately made their assessment in seconds. They grabbed dad, forcing him against his truck. "Sir, step away from the child. She kidnapped her!" Dad was yelling. "She had her handcuffed to a bed. Look at her wrist." But mom was sobbing perfectly, telling the officers how dad had been stalking them, how he'd taken me from her house, how she'd followed to get me back safely. They cuffed dad right there while mom rushed to me, pulling me into a hug that looked protective but felt like a trap. "It's okay, baby," she whispered in my ear. "Mommy's here now." The officers were putting dad in the patrol car when the gas station attendant finally got their attention. "Officers, you need to look at the security footage. That girl came here alone, injured, asking for help. This woman showed up after." They reviewed it right there on the attendant's phone. Me climbing in through the window alone, blood on my wrist, crying for help, then mom arriving later trying to drag me out. They looked at my wrist, the skin torn in a perfect circle from the handcuff. Mom tried to run, but they caught her at her car as she screamed about saving me from dad. "She's in psychiatric hold now. Take the L."